This video is brought to you by...
You already know what it is. Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide, and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you in town, pull up on us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. It's free. It helps get the video out there. Definitely watch this video to the end so you can hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. For a lot of young men, I would say around 16 to 25, it's a tough time in life. Transitioning from a teenager to a young man. We have growing pains. Now you have to adjust from people looking at you like a little boy to a grown man. For some young men, they are blessed enough to have a good support system around them, whether a strong mother or father at home to get them the game and a little bit of direction, or a mentor like a good teacher or coach. But depending on the environment you are growing up in, things can be a little more complicated than just finding a little job to take care of yourself or going to school. Some places you got to make sure you can survive, live to see another day because there's so much going on around you. I know personally how it feels wanting to do right somewhere where everything around you seems to be wrong. It's a mental battle that a lot of young men struggle with. Let's just point to my scenario. I was 16 years old living with my great grandmother and my mother. They were both on fixed incomes, but they did the best they could. My mother, rest her soul, struggled with addiction. By that age, I had already dropped out of school, had a baby on the way, and was in the streets. I went to get a job at Wendy's, but quit, thinking I was missing something in the streets. Then in her early 30s, my mother passed away. I spiraled down a dark path. I went deeper into the streets and was battling depression, feeling like I was drowning and all alone. 3 months after my mother passed away, my daughter was born. Now at 17, I'm considered a man, helping my great grandmother out with bills and groceries and trying to take care of my daughter while dealing with grief and not having a job. I wanted to do right, get my GED, go to Job Corps, but 3 months after my daughter was born, I went to jail, then prison for almost 4 years, which probably, in hindsight, saved my life. I was able to get my diploma in a trade, but this story is not about me. It's about a harsh reality of young men trying to break a cycle and survive. I was blessed, but a lot of us are not, and unfortunately lose our lives or freedom before we can overcome our trauma and pain. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing a case of a young man who tried to stay out the way, but still lost his life to the streets. Back in 2024, 19-year-old Deontay Townes was trying his best to navigate life in Baltimore. Described as outgoing, charming, the life of the party. Deontay liked to have fun, dance, and joke around. Called Tay for short, he had a lot of love for the people he called family and friends. But life wasn't always easy for the young man. He struggled with his mental health, starting at a young age. Growing up in Baltimore by a preteen, he had already seen a lot. And at just 13 years old, when he went into his neighbor's yard to find his missing cat, police were called when they thought he was trying to break in. When they responded, instead of viewing Tay as a regular kid who was trying to find his lost pet, it turned into them yoking the young man up, which was all caught on camera, throwing him in the back of a police car and taking the young man away. He later spoke to the news about his encounter and how he felt. But even with trauma, with situations like that and losing people at a young age, he still wanted to make something of himself. He loved to build, and he tried to get a trade so he could go on and possibly make a career. But for now, he worked in retail, trying to stay out the way. Tay was doing all right, But on June 11th, 2024, everything would change. He was on a porch in the 2600 block of Asquith Street. He was talking to another young man when in mid-conversation, the other man lifted his shirt up the gun and shot 6 times before fleeing. Witnesses called BPD, who responded to the scene to find Tay suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to Johns Hopkins in critical condition. Not too long after, a woman also walked into the hospital suffering from a gunshot wound. She stated she was also shot by one of the bullets fired from the gun of the man on the porch who shot Tay, as she was sitting in a nearby car, but she didn't know who the shooter was. She was stable, but unfortunately, at just 19 years old, Tay would pass away from his injuries. His mother spoke out about his struggles. She stated he tried hard to stay focused, but he struggled with his mental health and really needed help. But he just walked around like everything was normal while fighting a silent battle. She had no idea who would want to hurt her son or why. As police started an investigation, they focused on cameras in the area that caught the whole incident and got a tip of a name of a suspect, an 18-year-old young man named Jamal Smothers. And just 2 weeks after the incident, he was arrested, taken into custody, charged with first-degree hit, attempted hit, first-degree assault, and use of a firearm while committing a violent crime. As the case started making its way to court, Jamal's lawyer tried to fight, but with cameras and video, it wasn't much he could do. Jamal stated his Hicks rights was being violated, which is a law in Maryland that states you are entitled to go to court or trial within 180 days of your first court appearance. When he went in front of a judge in order to try to get the case thrown out, claiming his rights were being violated, she argued it wasn't the prosecutors who wasn't ready, but his attorney, who needed more time to put together their argument. Jamal zapped out and called her the B word, but eventually him and his attorney couldn't do much against the video footage. He pled out to all the counts against him and received a life sentence, all suspended for 50 years in prison. It was never stated what the two young men was beefing about. Prosecutors claimed Jamal upped the gun mid-conversation without even being provoked. Rest in peace to Deontay. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. According to his mother, Shorty was struggling, but still trying to figure it out. All of us deal with that some point in our life in different ways, and some people's experiences might affect them more than others. As men, even when we are young, we are taught to be strong, never fold, don't show no emotions, walking around with built up trauma and pain. I don't know what Deontay was into, but at 19, he was trying. You still should have time to figure it out at that age. But in certain environments, unfortunately, that's not the case. Jamal got 50 years at 19 years old, life gone. I'm sure whatever he felt Tay did after sitting in that cell for a few years, he definitely gonna think to himself, like, yo, it wasn't even worth it. I was geeking and threw my life away. 2 for 1. We always fall for the same trap. One young man full of potential, gone, and another sitting in a cell. But I'm gonna leave this one open for discussion. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the situation in the comments. Yeah, man, messed up story. Rest in peace, that young man. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.